Hi everybody, I'm back with another video. In this video, I want to talk a few minutes about Dr. Umar. I saw the video, the debate between Dr. Umar and Antonio Moore from Tony Talks. And Umar was so upset and mad about ADOS. And it made absolutely no sense to me. He is trying to raise money for school for black boys. He's been doing that a while. So, and when all of this went down, with them talking about him being certified in his degrees, I voiced my opinion from a higher perspective based on how he was being attacked. But, in my opinion on that, well, he went to college like everybody else. He got his degrees, so he went and got his doctorate in sociology, psychology. He got that degree. And he got all these different degrees, I don't name them all. But he got these different degrees, but the one particular degree that I zoned in on was the doctorate degree for psychology. And they were saying he didn't have a degree. He wasn't a doctor. But then again, everybody calls Boyce Watkins a doctor because he has a doctorate degree in finance. Then Cynthia G mentioned she had a degree in psychology. She didn't say she had a doctorate. I think she has her bachelor's or something in, could be master's, I don't know. But she has a degree in psychology. But she's not calling herself a doctor. So I see this as Dr. Umar is just as much as a doctor of his profession as Boyce Watkins is a doctor of his profession. You have clergies that are the doctor, like the church I went to all my teenage years. He was the pastor at that church. He was just pastor whatever. We call him Reverend whatever. I don't know what we call his name. So he went to school. Now this particular pastor when I went to the HBCU college in the town that I live in. I went to his religious class because he taught religion. I passed the religion class. Wasn't into it back then. Then I got into it, and then after that, not so much. But I passed this doctrine class in religion, the Old and the New Testament. And so since then, he became a doctor of religion. So now instead of calling him Reverend so-and-so, we call him Doctor so-and-so because he has his PhD in religion. So with all that said, I defended that in my commentary when this attack was going on with him concerning Tariq Rashid and even young Pharaoh and all these other statements that are being said about him. Because I don't take sides. I look at the situation. I look at it from a different perspective. He has a degree, a doctorate degree in psychology. So if other people can have doctorate degree in their professions and be called a doctor, so can he. Now with all of that said, I saw the video of the debate between him and Antonio. He was very, very passionate, highly irritated with those of us identifying as ADOS, American descendant of slavery. He was highly irritated with that because he is not. He was saying he's not. Now I don't know why he's saying he's not. And it's because, as this guy is saying on his video, Dr. Umar is not an ADOS. He's a Cuban. So he's Cuban, so he's a Cuban immigrant. So my thing is, these different immigrants of certain identities as Cuban or Nigerian, Jamaican, Dominican, Trinidadian, UK, British. They're all either born over here, live over here, whatever. And a lot of them are first generations or second generations coming up. So with him being so upset about that, I was like, what? I thought he was for all black people, all African American people. But now there is a group identifying ourselves as ADOS. Now he's highly upset. Now, once he gave his debate, and Antonio gave his and explained what ADOS is and how they identify, why they identify, and all of that. So now I understand where the anger comes from. It's not that ADOS is attacking or doing anything to this man. ADOS just have an agenda. They identify, and they want reparation on the books a while. I didn't know that. But they're identifying to a better life. Now, these immigrants, they live in nice neighborhoods. Nice neighborhoods. I've seen the Latino neighborhood, beautiful. It's just them. I've seen Hispanic neighborhoods, beautiful. It's just them. In their neighborhoods, you've seen it. And certain blacks are not allowed in their neighborhoods because they identify with who they identify as. Now, ADOS. Now, there are a group of black people, African American, they call us, that living in neighborhoods is not beneficial to them. It's not serving them in the best way. And that's because in these neighborhoods, these so-called African Americans, these so-called black people, so-called black America, they are consumers. They have no revenue. Just about every community with ADOS in them, they don't have businesses. They're not creating wealth. They're not creating revenue. Like, you work on a job, you get paid a certain amount, whether you're getting paid $7.50 an hour or 10,000 hours. It doesn't matter. But based on that money, you get to live a certain life. But we know those on those poverty wages, like the $7.50 an hour, and I put $7.50 an hour to $25 an hour. I consider those poverty wages because are those making those money able to invest money in property, in assets? Are they able to invest in assets? No, because when they bring home their paycheck already gone. 75% of it is already gone in bills before you even get it. Then the other 25%, you go probably spend it on what you want to spend it on. Like go eat out, whatever. Then you're not spending them in businesses that's going to benefit the black community in general. which is we're beginning to see is the ADOS community are not benefiting. So it seems to me this fiery complaints about ADOS attacking immigrants. I see where it comes from. ADOS is not allowed into any immigrant community. They're not, oh, well, you're not African, you're black. Well, I'm Hispanic, I'm Nigerian, I'm Jamaican, I'm this, I'm Dominican, I'm that, I'm Latino. All of this is me when you're speaking to black people, African American people. So we're called. But long as that was going on and ADOS just moving along, now ADOS are waking up and realizing we're getting nothing. So now our parents, they brought us into the world and they lived their life according to the way it was. And then we grow up seeing and we want a better life. So me, now almost 60 years old now, I'm seeing all of that, how it went from there to here and where it's going. So my thing is, so why should ADOS just stay in this decimated condition? Now that ADOS don't want to stay in this decimated condition, everybody has a problem. I'm sure I know other people before now have come up, like the I think African descendants of American slaves, the ADOS or DOAS. All of that comes up, but none of those break through like ADOS has. So now ADOS has a voice. You got politicians running for presidency, hearing, and they are using the word reparations to get elected. But ADOS is all one mind. We all got one thought. We need to be represented in these legislations that are being put in place. So that's my take on that. I wonder, so now I understand why he was so upset with ADOS identifying. ADOS has every right to identify because before there was no identity. Oh, you're black. Everybody, all immigrants are African Americans. Every immigrant that's here, that's from Africa, from the continent of Africa, are African Americans. Because they become over here, some are legal citizens, some had children here, whatever, they're African Americans because now they reside in America, so now they're African Americans. And black is not a color, it's not a race. Black is a status, because there's only two statuses, black and white. So black is a status, you either white, you either identify as white or you identify as black. Even though everybody has their own identity under black and white, because you have immigrants over here, like Obama grandparents that immigrated over here. They're immigrants that identify under white, but Obama identified as African American because his father is king from Africa and he was born here. He's an American. So Obama is African American. So ADOS always been here. Now I grew up in the cotton fields of Carolina. When I was born, my parents were picking cotton. I remember the cotton fields like yesterday. I was 6 years old in a cotton field with a white pillowcase picking cottons alongside my mom. And my daddy drove the tractor. And I was in the fields when they picked tobacco, sucking the little white flowers out of the top of the tobacco. I was there. My mama drove the tractor when we brought the tobacco to the barn and the tobacco was cooked. My mom, when I was a little girl, probably like maybe 3, 4. I had to be younger than that, maybe 3. And my sister was 2. Then I had another, it was another little baby that died between me and another sister. But I only remember me and my sister, we a year and 2 months to the date apart. So I remember all that fresh, as if I'm still there. I remember all that. We grew up in the field, in the cotton field, in the crop fields. That is what we did. Therefore, through my research, I realized those in the cotton field didn't come from Africa. They were already here because my great-great-granddaddy is a full-blooded Cherokee. My husband and I had the exact same great-great-granddaddy. We was, by our parents, was told about our great-great-granddaddy and what he did and how he lived his life. And he had a lot of families. Me and my husband just happened to come up 3 generations later and marry each other, not knowing. But so the sharecroppers, which is our Indian ancestors, sharecrop with the immigrants that came over here. And now look where we are. Went from sharecropping to many of the Indians over here being the dark-skinned Indians over here being enslaved by the pale-skinned people. So now coming down on that identity line, now I'm born descendant of these sharecroppers, which are Indians, the Cherokees and the other. Now in the South, it's all about Cherokees. They got other Indians I don't know anything about. I just know who my descendants are. So now we're to this point where we came here and we sit back and see all of this going on. And now we have children that are grown with children and see what's happening in their time. It's our duty to, as we coming forward, to remind them who we are and where they come from, because we know where we come from. We was confused about it because we said we came on ship from Africa and was brought over here. For some reason, I never felt I was a part of an ancestor that was brought on a ship from Africa. It's just that my cells knew that. It's just annoying. I don't believe I came over here on no ship. My husband believes he did. But I said, I don't believe that. I just don't feel it. Now I know after doing 2 days of research about this, 2 days, all day, listening to all the information, and it just coming together in my head. And I said, okay, this is why I never felt like I was a part of slavery. And my great-great-grandfather, what I understand, is from Charleston. Because we know other family members that we never met before that identifies with the same great-great-grandfather. So we know how far our lineage go back. So I don't consider myself African American because I don't believe I don't believe my great-great-granddaddy, a full-blood Cherokee, was brought over here from Africa. I don't believe that. Then I have the cheekbones. And always been told that I have the Indian cheekbones. Been told that all my life. So it is what it is and all of that. So with identifying as American descendants of slavery, that would be accurate, because the Indians that was already here planting, growing, farming crops for millennials, sharecropped with the immigrants that came here. And now the immigrants has taken over the land and renamed it. And I heard the land, all of North America was Turtle Island. And then they changed the name to America, to North America. And now within North America, they divided the whole continent up into states. And now we have the United States. So I guess, so from that, I don't identify as black, even though according to America's legislation, I'm black. According to Jesse Jackson coming up with African American, I'm classified as African American. So I live by who I am. But I personally don't identify as black or as African American. I personally identify with my Cherokee great grandfather, who my parents spoke about as we grew up, was told us about as we grew up. When we grow up, children don't forget what they hear and learn growing up. Schools put us in a place, where they teach us his story. That way we forget about our story, but our story is still there. And it's time for us to remember our story. And my story is this. I know who I am. And I've been told by some YouTuber that I'm not an American. Okay. If I'm not an American, then I'm a human being that was born on the soils of America for as far back as I can understand. And therefore, if you say I'm not an American, then I can only be considered a Cherokee Indian from Turtle Island. With all this information that I come up with, that I research and all of it came up. Because the more you research, information just keep coming. And I was 2 days into this information. So, and what got me to understand that was, I know for a fact my grandmama and my mama were sharecroppers in the cotton field. And the cotton gin came in the cotton fields when I was 6 years old. I say I was 6 years old, but 6 years old, I don't know what year the cotton gin came in, but that would be, I don't know if I was 6. I may have been younger, because when I was in the cotton field, I don't remember going to school during those times. So when I know I started school when I was 6, therefore, that kind of aligning up. I was 6 when I started school, and I was 6 when the cotton gin came in. If I find out the year the cotton gin actually hit and know the exact, then I will know. Because all thing information do is synchronize what I already know from my, what they call that field around me, the innate field around us, what I already know from that. What they call our DNA, what I already know from my DNA. That is what it was. Again, I saw videos. I even see these Indian pictures that I'm seeing. These people look just like me. I mean, I can look at these people and see me because I look just like them. So I can identify with who I am based on videos of these Indians talking in the cotton fields, talking. They're being interviewed. And one lady in particular said, when they asked her, does she ever see herself progressing from the cotton fields? She said no. And that was a true statement because when I born, we were still in the cotton fields. So I tell you right then and there, she knew. But with all that said, which I just given my story of why I identify as American descendant of slavery, because the sharecroppers in the cotton fields, many of them were enslaved. They were enslaved workers. They work to give half to the immigrants. So, and I guess now through ADOS, these descendants are having a voice. But I see that voice coming from as far back as Pocahontas. That's how far back I see this ADOS going. Even though Pocahontas, I don't know if she was enslaved or not, because the stories that I know from the history books about her, I don't know. I can't go by that. I would have to go through that straight lineage line to know the information, accurate information of her and whatever. But so with all that said, this dude is so mad with ADOS for identifying as ADOS when he identifies Cuban. ADOS can't identify with a race like the Cubans, Jamaican can identify with their race. ADOS can't do that because their identity has been taken away. And for ADOS and me knowing that I'm a descendant of a full-blooded Cherokee Indian, and I actually know his name because I asked my grandmother about him before she died. My grandmother, which is my dad's mother, and my dad was raised by my great-grandmother, who knows, who which I'm assuming she knew her father. But I've been to my great-grandmother's grave, and we would have buried them all in the same lot, but there weren't any more space there. But a little further over is where we buried my grandmother, not too far from her mother. And then my dad is buried right beside my grandmother. And my uncle, my dad's older brother, he died. He was cremated, so we have him in an urn in the coffin of my dad. So those two are together by my by my father, my grandmother. And my great-grandmother, her mother, it's just a couple, it's like a couple row over on the other side. She's there. And So we knew they come up in the cotton field. So we know that. So this brought on ships from Africa over here in conditions like that. I don't resonate. I just never ever resonate with it. And I heard about all of that because I didn't heard about it in school. They didn't teach slavery in school when I was there. But I learned it when I started studying the Bible. I learned about all of that, coming on ships and all of that, and how bad it was when the movies that they showed us in high school about roots and all of that, and then magazines that's talking about it, explaining it with pictures and all. I saw all of that, took all that in, but it never ever resonated with me. I never judged it because I didn't know it was true or not. I didn't judge it as being true or false. It was just information. But now, now when I went back to what I was told as a child, who my great grandfather was, I said, okay, I resonate with that. So that's all I have to say about this video. So what I think about Dr. Umar, he's not an ADOS, he's a cutie. I think he has every right to his passionate feelings. He has every right to it. But ADOS also has every right to identify with who they identify with. And ADOS, we identify with our ancestors that were the original Indians here, and who a lot of them are still here. They're still here. The original Indians that was here when the settlers came and started sharing the land. That's who I identify with. Now, these your other Indians that get fired, all the Indians, these Indians on the reservations, I don't know who those Indians are, except from a video I saw of the Indians explaining what happened to millions and millions of children that was taken into these religious schools, never to be seen by their parents again. So those children are original Indians, and with the Indians being copper skin, see my skin is copper. I was saying I was peeking and tan, but when they put this color chart up there to compare your skin against, I'm copper. I'm copper tone skin. So with all of that said, the ADOS movement is a political. And I saw something in there where they said that the ADOS is a political party. This thing is framing itself as ADOS talking, and demanding and fighting and fighting with people who claim they're thinking and saying and doing things that they're actually not doing, but which is what they're actually doing. You accuse people of doing something that you're actually doing and try to convince them that they're doing something that they know in their brain, subconsciously, consciously, that they're not doing, but you're telling them that's what they're doing. And now the world has waken up. You can't tell somebody they're doing something they know they're not doing when they are woke. ADOS is awake. We call conscious community, we woke, people woke. But ADOS is actually awoke now. We're beginning to see who we are. Who we are. And we are not Africans. They get upset because ADOS say, well, you self-hating. I said that yesterday. ADOS self-hating because they are denying their blackness and their African. It's not self-hating for me to identify with my Cherokee grandfather, great-great-grandfather. It's not self-hating for me to identify with that and not identify with people I can't resonate with. I just under this black status. There's nothing you can do about that. You are the conditions that you are under is black. It's the status. And we are allocated to that status, then it is what it is. So people don't have to identify as black if they don't want to. So you accept the situation, the system that you're in, because you can't do nothing about it until you can. But getting mad with ADOS because they identify separately from African is not a problem. Like I say, we are all human beings can come together and work together for the better of all human beings. But you got a particular problem with a particular group of people trying to uplift this horrible conditions that the majority of ADOS is living under, then you're only exposing yourself. ADOS don't have to argue and fight with anybody. I don't believe in arguing and fighting with nobody. I give you my perspective. But I'm not going to argue and fight with you. You just let people talk. And I don't believe in going out there protesting and getting beat up with billy sticks thrown to the ground and get my arm broken by the police. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. My thing is stay home and bother. My thing, I've been boycotting all my life. If I don't like something, I'm like this. If you don't like me, then I don't like you. Don't you give me good service? Fine. But if you don't like me, I don't like you. You give me horrible service and looking at me like, oh well. I don't gotta do it. I'm gonna boycott you. That's what I personally do. I don't go in people's business and protest people. Why protesting you for? You have a right to be who you are. You have a right to that you have there. And I also have a right to, I don't have a right to protest it, but I got every right to boycott it. Because you can't make me come into a place of business and buy something when you have competition. It's a competition for, okay, I just go over here. Some people just go bow their head down and be humble. You know, I don't believe in that bow head down, humble, taking no abuse. I don't believe in that. I just boycott. That's what I do. So that's all I have to say for this topic at the moment. So now I understand why Dr. Umar is utterly upset about ADOS identifying as ADOS and not identifying as Pan-African. Okay, well, I will be back with another video. Bye.